Hello you fine ladies and gentlemen, I hope your day is going well. Today we're going over the best methods to deal more damage in Battlefront, which should allow you to do much better in the game and win far more engagements. Now there are of course many different components to dealing more damage, including trait cards, star cards, and of course blasters, as well as certain playstyles and engagement ranges. Let's start off with the trait cards, seeing as they act as a foundation, so to speak, to build on with other components. The Berserker and Sharpshooter traits are the ones that stick out from the rest when it comes to dealing more damage, and which one of those you choose to use totally depends on your playstyle. If you prefer to use longer range blasters and aim down sights quite often, the Sharpshooter trait is probably more advantageous. On the other hand, if you hardly ever aim down sights, the Berserker trait is going to allow you to deal far more damage. At rank 3 of either of these traits, your blaster does 50% more damage per shot when aiming down sights or hip firing, depending on which trait you're using. This means that if your blaster does 30 base damage per shot, it will now do 45 damage, which is actually quite a large increase, especially when using blasters that have an even higher base damage, like the DL44 or EE4. So now that we have this foundation and quite a hefty increase for damage, let's move on to the star cards and charge cards. Star cards don't necessarily increase the damage of your blaster, but they certainly can be used to help level up your trait card, which in turn increases your damage output. So star cards that deal more damage can actually help your overall damage output of your build. So using star cards like the Scattershot, Pulse Cannon, Impact Grenade, and Bowcaster can be really useful. But the star cards you decide to use don't even have to deal damage, as long as they fit your playstyle and help you play better, which could mean a jump pack, back to bomb, or shot grenade. Whichever one of those you choose to use, make sure they help you dominate the battlefield and level up your trait cards quicker. Unlike star cards, some charge cards can directly impact the damage of your blaster, mainly cards like Explosive Shot or even Focus Fire and Cooling Cell, even though that may sound a little out there. Though Focus Fire and Cooling Cell don't have anything to do with directly increasing the damage of your blaster, they can still allow you to deal more damage over a period of time due to an increase in accuracy or the immunity of overheating your blaster. All of these charge cards can really help you deal more damage with your blaster, Explosive Shot especially, seeing as it increases the base damage of the blaster, meaning when it's paired with the damage boost from the trait card, it can take out opponents extremely quickly. However, the Explosive Shot does have a huge disadvantage, as it causes your blaster to overheat at an extremely accelerated rate. So in the end, the choice of charge card is up to you, depending on your playstyle, but I would stick to the choices of Explosive Shot, Focus Fire, and Cooling Cell. Now on to the blasters. There are of course going to be multiple choices depending on range and your playstyle, but there are certainly better choices than others. When it comes to which blaster deals the most damage, it's not just about the damage statistic that you see, but also the rate of fire, as that will dictate how much damage is dealt over time, which really is what matters in Battlefront. For close and medium range, I would go with the SE14C, due to its very high damage rating and rate of fire, allowing you to deal an incredible amount of damage in close and medium ranges. The TL50 Heavy Repeater is another strong choice, as it has one of, if not the highest, rates of fire in the game, along with a relatively high base damage and great accuracy, making it a very good choice to deal more damage. Then there's also the DL44, which has an extremely high base damage and a decent rate of fire, so another great choice there. There are of course many other blasters that are able to deal a lot of damage, but those are the ones I would suggest, but in the end it totally depends on your playstyle. The CA87 Shock Blaster would also work of course, but that is more suited to a very strict gameplay style, which is really close range, but of course that also has a really high base damage. Now for medium and long range, I would say either the E11, A280C, or T21 blaster rifles are really good choices. They're all quite accurate and have high base damages as well as decent rates of fire. I'd say the E11 and A280C are more for medium range, even close range sometimes, and would therefore use them with the Berserker trait. whereas the T21 is more of a long-range blaster and perhaps one that would benefit more from the sharpshooter trait. So those were a few methods and class builds you can use to deal more damage in Star Wars Battlefront. Let me know in the comments down below what builds or blasters you use to deal the most damage. And as always, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, I'm very glad. If you wish to subscribe, feel more than welcome to. And as always, I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.